Earthquakes don't happen very often here in San Diego.
Oh my God!
But in April, a 5.2 magnitude quake hit near Julian, shaking multiple communities. So it's important to ask, are you ready or not? Welcome to our special Earthquake, Ready or Not. We're working for you to help you prepare in case another quake hits close to home. The April earthquake was felt from the mountains of Julian to the coast of Del Mar. We spoke with Ashley Carter that day. She was working from home in Julian when the ground started to shake.
There was a lot going on, a lot of movement, some items flying around, and it wasn't safe to be inside. These two lights were swinging around, some items came flying out. All of our drawers in the kitchen cabinet just opened wide up.
There were no injuries and no major damage reported, but there were real impacts. The North County Transit District reduced train speeds from Orange County to downtown San Diego as a precaution, while crews checked the tracks for any sign of damage. In fact, service was completely suspended for a time between Solana Beach and Sorrento Valley, so the tracks, bridges, and signals could be inspected. That stretch along the bluffs is considered geologically fragile. Then, just 3 months later, in July, a powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Russia across the Pacific. That quake prompted a tsunami advisory here in San Diego and all along the California coast. Fortunately, there were no significant impacts locally, but it left many people wondering what exactly happens in a tsunami threat, and are we really prepared? Along our coast, there are tsunami evacuation signs pointing you toward higher ground. You may walk right past them and never notice, but they're there for a reason. Even a distant earthquake thousands of miles away can send a powerful surge of water racing toward our coastline with potentially devastating impact. The last time a tsunami hit California, it came from Japan, damaging more than 100 boats in Santa Cruz. The 9.0 earthquake in 2011 triggered a massive wave that traveled 5,000 miles across the ocean, causing damage up and down the coast as far south as San Diego.
Look at that 6x beam busted like a toothpick.
A tsunami is more than just a big wave.
A tsunami comes in and it keeps going over the beach, through the houses, over the bay. It just doesn't quit.
Geologist Pat Abbott says a tsunami is more like a wall of water.
It's not the height of the wave that concerns me as much as the fact that the wave is actually, it's the wall in front of a big sheet of water, and that water mass may be miles and miles across, and it's just going to run and run and run.
In 1964, a 9.2 quake hit Alaska, and as you can see from this archive film footage, the resulting tsunami wiped out Crescent City along the coast of Northern California, with a monster swell killing a dozen people who thought the danger had passed.
In Crescent City, California, people evacuated up. They look down at their houses and businesses. They see 1, 2, 3, 4 waves. They think, okay, I know what it is. I'll go down. A lot of them went down, and the 5th wave was the biggest, and all 12 of the deaths occurred with the 5th wave.
Tsunamis can be triggered by earthquakes that cause large plates under the ocean to move upward, displacing huge amounts of water. The resulting wave can travel 500 miles an hour until it hits land, causing destruction and death.
It may seem surprising to people, but the biggest risk comes from Alaska.
Caltech seismologist Lucy Jones says this computer model shows what a 9.1 earthquake off the coast of Alaska could do more than 2,000 miles away in Southern California. The tsunami wave hitting as far south as San Diego with a height of about 6 to 13 feet.
When we did this modeling, I think across the coast of California, $700 million of damage to small marinas and ports.
As this computer animation demonstrates, many low-lying areas like San Diego's Mission Beach community would be underwater.
In areas like Mission Bay, there everything's really very flat, you're very close to sea level, and you can see basically all of the Mission Bay area ends up underwater. This here's Del Mar, and you can see that things really come quite far inland here.
A tsunami triggered by a large offshore earthquake in the Pacific Northwest could destroy coastal cities in Washington and Oregon with very little warning. It would likely take 5 to 6 hours, however, for a tsunami triggered in that region to reach the southern end of the U.S., giving residents and tourists here enough time to get to safety. But Dr. Abbott warns if you live in or are visiting San Diego, don't get too comfortable.
The tsunami is just a totally different phenomenon.
A smaller but still devastating tsunami could be triggered by an offshore earthquake and underwater landslide, giving you only 10 minutes or so to evacuate.
So just a block from the coast, if a tsunami were to come, we would be underwater.
Oh, yes, yes.
While tsunami signs in beach communities up and down the West Coast are often overlooked and ignored, Dr. Abbott says pay attention to the posted evacuation routes. They're designed to get you away from the coast, but he says the key is to get to higher ground.
This particular sign right here, we're almost near Grand on Mission Boulevard, and they're saying go east. Very frankly, I think where I am sitting here and I can see Mount Soledad a few blocks away, I would go north.
When you don't have time to head inland, looking up could save your life.
And then kind of look around and see what's my best bet. Oh, I could go up the third story, up those stairs, up to a third-story building. That's pretty good. It's only a half a block away.
Bottom line, if you're in any coastal town in the U.S. or abroad and you feel shaking or notice any abnormal ocean activity, get to higher ground fast. And unlike those who died in Crescent City, stay away.
If you are at the beach and you feel very strong shaking, leave the beach. Okay? Probably nothing's going to happen, and all you have done is lost a day at the beach. But the potential upside is your life.
Best not to take any chances. Coming up next on Earthquake Ready or Not, we'll show you the latest upgrades to California's earthquake early warning system. Technology that could give you 10 to 20 seconds of warning before the shaking starts. It's a few seconds that could make all the difference when the big one hits. This might look like a living room, but I'm actually standing inside the Big Shaker. It's an earthquake simulator, and it's meant to demonstrate what happens when a 6.8 magnitude earthquake hits. Okay, I can feel it starting now. You can see that there are items falling on top of me. This is actually the biggest risk, things falling on top of you. And really, an earthquake can hit at any time without warning. But now here in California, there is a way to get a warning before the shaking begins right on your cell phone. The state uses the MyShake app, and here in San Diego, there's a similar app designed to do the same. Even a few precious seconds of advance notice can give you enough time to drop, cover, and hold on. The key steps to staying safe when the ground starts to shake. Brian White explains how this life-saving technology works.
When an earthquake hits California, the state's MyShake app is designed to instantly send out a warning for magnitude 4.5 or higher, giving people crucial seconds to take cover before the strong seismic waves hit.
We know that this tool does work and that it has a lot of potential for everyone in California.
Earthquake detected.
And this is the Alert San Diego app with a Shake Ready SD feature. Both this and the MyShake app are tied into the Shake Alert California Earthquake Warning System. Now, Shake Alert is using new technology to make earthquake warnings more accurate. The system previously relied on the network of ground-based seismometers, but it's also using GPS sensors. Robert DeGroot with the U.S. Geological Survey says those can measure the strength of the quake from space-based satellites.
Instead of measuring how fast the ground is moving, is what seismometers do, we are now measuring how far the ground moved, up, down, sideways. And what that translates into potentially is getting alerts to people faster.
He says the new data can more accurately determine the magnitude of larger earthquakes, like the Loma Prieta quake that struck San Francisco in 1989.
We need that extra information to give us a more accurate and potentially faster characterization of how big that earthquake is getting.
These warning apps can alert you up to 10 to 20 seconds before the shaking starts, depending on how far away you are from the quake's epicenter.
The farther you're away, the more warning time you'll get. Even a couple of seconds matters.
You can download both the MyShake and Alert San Diego apps for free from the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Brian White, CBS 8.
So what should you do if you actually get a shake alert? You might have 10 seconds, and what you're going to want to do is look around, drop, find a place to take cover, and hold on. Do not try to run out of any building because you might not have time. Stay put and protect yourself, especially your head. It is important to take quick action. April's earthquake also left many people wondering if they should get earthquake insurance. Our David Gottfredson is working for you and has some insight from experts about your options.
Now that the dust is settled from Monday's 5.2 earthquake, you might be thinking about updating your earthquake insurance. Getting the right coverage might help you and the kids sleep better at night.
Well, it's definitely a wake-up call. That's the cliche phrase that we hear every time there's an earthquake, but it's really true.
Carl Sussman is an independent insurance agency owner. And while mortgage companies generally do not require earthquake insurance, Sussman says it's a good idea.
Homeowners insurance does not cover earthquakes. It's specifically excluded. So the only way to have coverage in the event of an earthquake is to buy a separate earthquake insurance policy.
The California Earthquake Authority is the largest provider of earthquake insurance in California. It is a nonprofit set up by the state, but not funded by the state. Other private insurance companies also offer earthquake policies.
It definitely makes sense to shop around from these different companies because one rate could be very different than another.
When it comes to earthquake coverage, the lower the deductible, the more expensive the policy. But if your house is worth more than $1 million, or if it was built before 1980, the lowest possible deductible you can get from the California Earthquake Authority is 15%. So on a $1 million home, that's a $150,000 deductible.
These policies aren't designed to pay for, the lamp that falls over, right, or something minor that happens.
The good news is, unlike wildfire insurance, earthquake insurance is really easy to get right now, and it's offered by several different companies. Working for you, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Thanks, David. Earthquakes can cause massive destruction, but in coastal areas, the danger doesn't always end when the shaking stops. As we've shown you, powerful quakes can trigger tsunamis. Now, some people are taking steps to ride out the storm. We checked in with an engineer from the Seattle area who says his invention can help save lives.
A system that allows you to evacuate immediately to a safe space, and then, in that case, ride the tsunami event out.
Julian Sharp is president of Survival Capsule, a company developing steel survival spheres built with aerospace technology. The capsule is designed to float above the waves and protects the people inside from drowning or being crushed by floating debris. It's been tested in extreme conditions, even surviving a drop over Palouse Falls in Washington state. There it goes. Sharp says the capsules are more cost-effective than vertical evacuation towers. And there's been a lot of interest, especially in Japan, where tsunamis have killed tens of thousands of people. The smallest capsule holds 2 people and costs about $20,000. This is a customer right here. A 12-person model runs about $50,000. Larger versions designed for schools can hold 14 children and 2 teachers.
Jump into your capsule and ride it out. And it's very good for the elderly people who don't have the physical capability that young people might. It's also very good for families with small children and, of course, adults who have pets.
How many customers do you have who are in line to purchase one or who have already purchased one?
We've probably sold about 20 capsules in total, and we have a customer list of about 1,800 people from, I think in the last count, it was 31 different countries.
Sharp says the capsules could one day be mass-produced in the U.S., offering people along the coast a last line of defense. When earthquake ready or not continues, why do some buildings collapse and others survive major earthquakes? We will go underground to see what it takes to make a building earthquake safe. There's an ongoing effort to make buildings safer, retrofitting old ones and building new ones to be earthquake-proof. Reporter Keely Chalmers shows us why some buildings collapse during an earthquake and some buildings don't.
We've seen the images of destruction following a major earthquake, images that often include crumbled and in some cases collapsed buildings, sometimes right alongside structures that look almost untouched. So why do some buildings fail while others stay standing? In many cases, it comes down to engineering and technology.
This used to be the post office.
Take, for example, Pioneer Courthouse in downtown Portland. When it was built back in 1875, it was not built to survive any sort of major seismic event.
If we get the big one, the magnitude 8, like they're talking about, I mean, would it crumble?
If we didn't have any protection, yeah, likely it'd be dust.
But in 2004, the federal government spent $92 million on a project to make sure that would not happen. To see what the feds did, we went inside the historic building, down the first ever elevator installed in the Pacific Northwest,
Go through this way,
into the basement, and then down even farther.
This is the area that had to be excavated.
It's where engineers installed what's called a base isolation system underneath the building. This is one of 70.
This is what it looks like here installed. Basically how it operates is the bottom portion of it is concaved and the upper portion is convex, and there's a bearing in the middle. When the earth starts moving violently, it allows the bottom to move independent of the top, and the building will probably get into a slow sway as compared to a violent action, protecting the building.
In the event of an earthquake, instead of shaking violently, the building will instead sway gently back and forth, kind of like a pendulum. This is an example of a seismic retrofit, taking an existing building, installing some technology, and making it earthquake safer. Head a few blocks away and up a different kind of elevator.
We're on the 16th floor of the new Multnomah County Courthouse.
You'll find a different kind of quake softening system.
There are about 80 of them.
This one being installed in a brand new building.
But as you can see over here, we have these steel braces which are distributed throughout the building, and at the ends of those braces are these, which are fluid assist dampers.
The dampers work a lot like shocks in your car, so when you go over potholes or speed bumps, instead of feeling a sharp jolt, you instead feel more of a cushion jolt. Well, the same thing is happening inside the building, just with much larger mechanisms to cushion a much larger jolt.
And with 80 of them spread across the building, when the ground below it starts shaking, the damping system absorbs a lot of that shaking, and the building stays intact.
That pulse is translating up the building. As it's translating up the building, it's basically being flattened out, squashed out by the damping provided by these fluid assist dampers.
A coupling of modern engineering with both new construction and some old, preserving history and helping to save lives.
Researchers led by UC San Diego recently simulated the effects of two powerful earthquakes on a 10-story cold-formed steel building built on the university's shake table in Scripps Ranch. The building is outfitted with cameras and sensors that give engineers and researchers crucial data they can use to improve future building designs and make structures safer.
Every type of structural system that we test gives us new knowledge, new understanding, improved knowledge and understanding on how these type of structures respond to earthquakes.
The test simulated the magnitude 6.9 Loma Prieta earthquake that struck the Bay Area in 1989 and the magnitude 6.7 Northridge earthquake that hit Southern California in 1994. Over the past several decades, construction has evolved here in California, thanks in large part to the research being done at UC San Diego. CBS 8's Steve Price has more on how engineers and researchers are using that data to design new buildings.
3, 2, 1. It's the tallest full-scale building ever constructed and tested on an earthquake simulator, and it happened right here in San Diego.
The work we do is pretty amazing.
Karush Latvitsada is the operations manager at UC San Diego's outdoor shake table, and he was here in 2023 when the wood structure designed to simulate a residential building was put to the test.
We're always testing new mechanisms, new devices, new technologies, so pretty much everything we do here is something I'm proud of.
The cross-laminated timber, which is a popular alternative to concrete and steel, was put through more than 200 earthquake simulations, including one meant to recreate the 6.7 magnitude Northridge quake in 1994, which killed more than 50 people and caused several buildings to collapse.
That rocking wall mechanism, the building being so flexible, there was very, very minimal damage. And that damage was more cosmetic, like you could just repair it easily and move on. The hydraulics.
Yeah. Karush took us underneath the shake table, showed us the mechanisms that move it, allowing them to recreate not just the strength of an earthquake, but also the way it moves.
Yeah, we do the rolling, we do the pitch, and we can do the yaw. So we're a 6-degree of freedom shake table. Any motion you can think of, we can replicate.
And the work they do here leads to changes all across California.
When I drive under a bridge, I look underneath it, look at the columns, and recognize some of the features. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember doing something related to that. The ultimate goal is resilience. So you just want it to be flexible enough to move. You can get some damage in the building, but ideally prevent collapse naturally, and buy enough time for the occupants to exit the building safely.
But are we ready for the big one?
I'd like to think we are. I mean, we can always do better.
Steve Price, CBS 8.
Thanks, Steve. And thank you so much for joining us for our CBS 8 special Earthquake, Ready or Not. If you'd like to view our entire Earthquake series online, visit CBS8.com. We've posted bonus video and more special reports from some of our sister stations. And don't forget to download the Earthquake Early Warning app, MyShake, so you're ready when the next one hits.